Do you ever feel like number two in your marriage? Like something else is always coming before you or being prioritized? If yes, you're not alone. That is such a common experience, probably an experience that every single woman has. And in this week's Parsha, we're going to learn an insight into this. We learn that Hashem understood that Leah felt hated. And twice in this week's Parsha is mentioned, at least twice. There's in today's, the third aliyah of it, twice this idea of Leah feeling hated. If you think about it, Leah was married to Yaakov, who was a patriarch, who was a tzaddik, who was like a reincarnation of like Adam HaRishon, like beyond. Like, what does it mean he hated her? Like he hated his wife? Like that doesn't even make sense. And so we're learning about how through the deceit of Lavan, Rachel and Leah's father, it ended up being that Yaakov married both wives. And so Leah understood that Rachel was really like the first pick. And because she felt second, she felt hated. Meaning when a woman does not feel like number one, she feels hated. She feels like the last. And so even though we're sure that Yaakov was, righteous towards Leah and showed her all the rights that, a Jewish woman has from her husband and took care of her and provided for her, that emotion wasn't there for her because she knew that she wasn't number one. And this pain point of feeling like I'm not number one and therefore I feel hated, let's go into that for ourselves because we all have this Leah part of ourselves, the dynamics of Rachel, Leah, Yaakov. It shows us so much about marriage. We're just going to hone in on this one point. And that is noticing when this Leah part of me comes up, when I feel like, oh, I'm not number one here, and therefore I feel hated, therefore I feel last. So maybe I feel second to my husband's Torah learning. Even though it's so holy and I'm so proud of him, I feel like I'm second. I feel like my needs come second. That could really hurt. Or maybe I feel like his car comes first, or his hobby comes first, or his family, his mother, his business. That's what's first. Or even feel like the kids in his eyes come first. There's so many things that feel like almost anything could feel like it's coming before, especially as responsibilities of life grow. And so taking a moment and realizing, who is my husband? Who am I married to? I'm married to a creation of Hashem. I'm married to this amazing man. And how did Hashem create men? He created them as mishpias, as givers. That is their divine essence. And my number one belief system as a geula wife is that my husband wants to make me happy, that I am his number one priority, that caring for me, protecting for me, providing for me is his number one. And being able to not look at the details of how life is unfolding, but zoom back into what's really going on for him, is this is coming out of a place of care or protection or love for me. And I'll give you the simplest example. I used to think that when my husband had these late night, Thursday night Farbrengens with all his friends at the yeshiva, and I'm just like home late Thursday night, like maybe it'd be a great date night, or I don't know, like maybe I was bored and should have made my own plans, or I made my own plans, but it's like really like every Thursday night he has to be with his friends. Like what about me? And when I realized, wait a second, what happens at these Farbrengens is that my husband gets refueled, he gets connected to his best friends, he gets to really talk his heart, he gets that guy time in a very holy way, thank God. And what does that allow him to do? It allows him to show up for me on Shabbat in the way of just like being my husband and being there for me and having that like tender time of Shabbos together and that bonding time and that quiet time. And so realizing that what was he giving me through his late night Farbrengens? He was giving me this amazing husband. He was giving me this really balanced person. And so even though it looked like something that totally wasn't for me, in his calculations, or even in like a subconscious realm, like where is that coming from? If he wants to be his best self and he knows that he needs his Farbrengens, and why does he want to be his best self? Because he wants to be this amazing man in my life. And really this is about belief systems. When I believe my husband cares, and I believe that for him, I am his number one as his wife, and I trust Hashem, that Hashem put this amazing mechanism inside of my husband called like his deep need to provide and give to me and care for me, everything changes. Suddenly, his Torah learning, I see that not as something that he's doing to ignore me. Let's say staying up late. I'm like, let's spend time together already. Wow, look at what he's doing for us. Look at what he's doing for me. And I've seen this pain point of children, right? This blessing of children come along, and children have so many needs and really can feel like they come first. And being able to realize, wait a second, my husband's being an amazing father because he's an amazing husband. right? Because these are our kids, because these are my kids, because these are his kids that he had with me, and he wants to care for them. And being able to see that, like, draw it back out of the details of life and draw it back to its essence of where this is coming from. And this is one of my favorite things. And what ends up coming out of this, instead of not, first of all, I'm not feeling hated, right? I'm not feeling second to yeshiva or to his work or to his own, self-care needs and his own priorities. No, suddenly I feel like, wow, this is all these amazing things he's doing for me. Even when he gets new clothes, like, wow, thank you for giving me this really cute husband. Like, this is great, And what ends up happening is I get to thank my husband for things that I never would have thought to be grateful to him for, Like, really being able to see how him prioritizing his needs is giving me this really balanced, healthy husband. Him taking care of all these things that maybe don't feel like they're directly related to me. Or maybe it feels like it's like a work thing, and really, wait a second, why is he working? Because he wants to provide for me. And being able to thank him for his late nights, being able to thank him for his long phone calls, and he's on his phone texting. Come on, ladies, if this doesn't hit home, what does? He's on his phone and the scroll is happening and I'm sitting right there. I'm like, aren't I more exciting than that phone, right? That's the moment of really feeling hated, of really feeling like the last, like just not number one. Realizing whatever, just that trust, whatever he is doing over there, go into that place of emunah. This is for me in some way. Maybe he needs that downtime to show up for me later. Maybe he's reading an article that he's gonna share with me. Maybe he's just, transitioning so he can really be present in the home. Or maybe he's taking care of some bill or some detail or researching something to be able to take the best care of us. And really be able to, instead of, attack him for being on his phone, just be able to have that gratitude of like, okay, like I know that I'm number one for him, and just watch. Don't take my word for it. Just watch. Just experiment with what happens when you take that deep breath. Trust deeply that you are his number one, and that his actions are coming out of a desire to love and care and protect for you, and to really provide for you in incredible ways that he may have never even shared with you that he wants to take care of you. Men, they plan. And be able to take that deep breath and really trust and really go into that gratitude and really allow yourself to feel like number one, because it could feel like, oh no, I'm a victim. Like, if he's not treating me like number one, then how can I ever feel like number one, right? And therefore I'm stuck. And we're saying, no, this is Geula Wives. This is about empowerment. I get to feel like number one because I choose to put my belief systems there, because I put my trust in Hashem, in my husband's highest self, in his neshama. And so therefore I get to show up feeling like number one. And when I show up feeling like number one,